So the first week of June, we've got some stuff going on. We have Jupiter, which has been very active because it's been moving signs and also making some alignments as it does so. So Jupiter has been very prominent lately. And you feel that in the bigness of how everything feels. Everything feels like a big deal because there is stuff that's a big deal going on in the world and also in your life. So if you feel like things are a big deal, they are. Stuff's a big deal right now. We can't minimize things. Things are making themselves known because they are big deals in your life, the way you feel in the outer world. It's everywhere. Jupiter's everywhere. But also remember, in my forecast, I really emphasize that yes, there's this outer world going on. And yes, the planets are way out there and they seem so far away. But really, what we're talking about to bring astrology into your life and make it meaningful to you, you have to think about these influences as happening inside of you. So Jupiter's happening inside of you, and it's trine Pluto in these first days of June. And I did a very tiny short video on June just to set the tone for June, which is a sandwich. June is a sandwich. It has a piece of bread, the beginning, the big middle of the sandwich, the middle 2 weeks, and then the last week, the other piece of bread. So in this first piece of bread, it's a lot of yummy energy. I mean, you've got Jupiter trine Pluto, which is big and important, Pluto and deep Pluto. These aren't insignificant things happening for you inside of you. They're important and deep and big, but good. There's a goodness, a niceness, a yumminess to this as well. Notice the stuff taking seed and growing inside of you, the ideas, the feelings. Notice what they are. The good ones, especially the ones that make you feel good, the ones that seem hopeful, because that's Jupiter. Jupiter's helping drag you out of the darkness. There, for almost everybody on the planet, there are places inside of us that just seem especially dark. Maybe bad memories, guilt, shame, regret. These are things that unfortunately we pick up like barnacles as we go through life. And but you can shed these things. They are removable. And sometimes it's like you have this internal vacuum cleaner or cleanser that comes through Jupiter and kind of pulls the barnacles off, helps lift the Pluto energy so that you can work with it in a way that's going to serve you. Because Pluto's heavier energy, it just is, and Jupiter's lighter energy. When they work together, they harmonize and help you with these two, parts, aspects of your own internal psyche, which has many parts. So it's lifting the dark stuff into the light so you can see it and work with it. If the dark stays dark inside of you and in the world, you can see where this is true, where things are hidden in the world. We can't help those things, where crimes are being committed against other people, where people are being hurt. If it stays in the darkness, we can't do anything about it. We have no awareness. When it comes to light, it can be painful and shocking sometimes, but then we can do something about it. And it's the same thing with stuff inside of you and in your very personal life. It's better to look at stuff and see it. Jupiter helps in this and then helps you do something about it and brings what seems like lucky energy to help you with this. It seems like luck. It seems magical sometimes, but it's actually more scientific than that. But if we go into that whole conversation, it will take us off track since we're staying with this first week in June. But there's a lot to it. There are a lot of reasons and scientific reasons why this stuff works. These energies inside of you, the way your psyche works, the way it has a way of healing itself. There's more science there than meets the eye too. It's also Sun conjunct Venus, and that's happening this is Jupiter's in Gemini, just as a reminder, Sun conjunct Venus also in Gemini, and Pluto is in Aquarius, retrograde, but in Aquarius still. And so, Venus conjunct Sun, there's a lot to Venus conjunct Sun. And it all depends on how you look at this. So if you think of these as energies inside yourself, you've got your ego, and this is just a very simplistic way to describe it. Your ego, the sun. So this is how you want to present, how you beam yourself out there into the world. It's how you think of your own identity. So whenever you're talking identity, you're talking the sun. And you have to be careful with identity. There's a lot of identity conversation going on out in the world. And it can be very important. It can help. It's a way you can get at stuff going on inside of you sometimes. But yeah, see there, Zoom's agreeing with me. I love it when Zoom just seems to pop in with like an opinion. When it's going to do the thumbs up, when it's going to do the thumbs down, when it's going to do balloons and celebration. It's interesting sometimes the synchronicity of what I'm saying. And then anyway, so Sun conjunct Venus, it's your ego working with the energies of Venus. And so a good part of that is it's a time where you can feel good about yourself. You can feel good about yourself. But sometimes what this can mean is it's hard to, even though you arguably could and should feel good about yourself, sometimes it's hard to see how amazing you are or how beautiful you are. It's also justice, fairness and justice. Here, there's a lot of fairness and justice issues out in the world. Totally, you're going to be focused on those in your own way. That's good, but it's good to go inside. Because you can't really be fair and just with anyone else or any other group of people until you can be fair and just with yourself. How fair and just are you with yourself? Can you see yourself as beautiful? Can you be kind and harmonized with your own being and beingness? That's where you have to start. And sometimes the sun is blinding. It's the ego inside of you can be so blinding. And ego identity it's the stuff you think of as good about yourself. And like I identify as a corporate blah 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 or whatever, or a doctor. That's part of your, now there's like all different ways we can identify that we want to kind of put out there. Or not, we want to hide or whatever. It depends on the person. But the ego is also all the negative feelings you have about yourself, like the stuff you're scared about, the stuff you don't like about yourself, the stuff you judge yourself harshly on. That's also the sun in your ego. And conjunct Venus. Venus can help you resolve some of that and be kinder to yourself if you recognize that you have this ability to do so. Now, with Jupiter dragging Plutonian stuff into the light, your challenge is probably to accept all the bits, accept yourself entirely, love yourself wholly, love the mess, start to fall in love with the mess in life, especially within yourself. That's a challenge. It's easy to say and harder to do on a daily basis, moment to moment basis. So it's an easy kind of like catchy, like love the mess, give you like a bumper sticker. But and we can in a moment of giddiness think, oh yes, absolutely. And then it gets the trudge, it's the Pluto, that trudge of going down into the grit and mire and darkness and then still loving the mess. Can we do it on a moment to moment basis? But there's a lot of help here early on in the month. Some really yummy stuff can be happening. If you find yourself feeling bad somehow about yourself or your past or mistakes, or just comparing kind of comparing and despairing, comparing yourself to others. Try to notice that that is what you are doing. So there's the doing it, comparing and despairing. Let's take that as an example, or judging yourself. There's the act of being in that, like I'm judging, or I'm comparing. And then there's the act of part of you stepping back and seeing that you're doing that. So there's the part of you that's like trapped in the judgment, trapped in the despair. And then there's a part of you, everyone has it, so you're not exempt. You've got to practice the skill, though. There's a part of you that could step back and see that you're doing that. And in that moment, it's really tempting to like, I see that I'm doing it, and then zooming back in, I'm so terrible that I do that, just keep pulling back. Like, I see that I'm so tempted to just be so hard on myself. Keep pulling back your perspective into the part of you that can see, wow, I'm really struggling here. I'm struggling, and the part of you that sees the struggle is very neutral. It just sees, and it doesn't have any emotional attachment to it. So it's actually a very peaceful spot to go, like you imagine, I change metaphors a lot, but imagine yourself like a little bird inside yourself. You can fly up to this branch of judging, not judging, but just observing yourself, seeing that you judge, seeing that you're hard on yourself, seeing that you have regrets. And this little bird on this branch is very peaceful. It just sees. So it's actually a very healing place to go, to see without jumping back into the judgment, jumping back into the you shoulda, you coulda, you're terrible, blah, 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 whatever. And it's the same, even if there's a part of you that's really caught up in how great you are. And sometimes we do get into these moments like, I'm just like so great. And I'd much rather you be there. But sometimes that can lead you into weird places, weird judgments. It can mess with your life a little bit when you think, um, when you're caught that, because that's too is a type of judgment, and trying to find a way to, and that too is judging. And especially if you're judging yourself as better than others. That's tricky. It's a tricky place to be. I'd much rather you feel good about yourself, absolutely. And at the same time, are you feeling like you're better than others? That's trickier. So then if you try to just be a little bird that comes back and sees, and like, she's thinking she's better than others. The bird doesn't have any feelings around that when it's up in this observer spot. It just sees it. And it's a very peaceful place to be that neutral and observant is a very peaceful spot to be. There are more places the bird could fly to that would feel good and transcendental, but we're just going to talk about the branch where you observe. The bird can fly to that branch and just observe what you're doing inside of yourself. Does any of that make sense? It's all very internal. But the thing is, it's when you can understand your own kingdom inside yourself that you can be and do the best out in the external world. If you want to be impactful and really make a difference in the world, or just in your own external life, mastering this internal kingdom first and understanding your own internal nature is the key. So this first week of June, there's so many opportunities for using that harmonizing Venus influence, the harmonizing and lightness of Jupiter, using Pluto's darkness, using what it can show you. Pluto is very powerful. When you use it effectively, Pluto can just be the thing that really makes your life worthwhile, honestly. So Pluto is still very, very important. It's nothing to be scared of. Is it dark? Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, but it's that Pluto is, say it again, when you can really connect with the Pluto energy in your life, in addition to all the other energies, it can be the thing that makes life worthwhile when working with it. with less judgment, really being able to see it and use that energy and use what it's showing you. It can be so, so powerful. We also, in the first week of June, have Mercury sextile Neptune. Mercury will also go conjunct Jupiter and trine Pluto. So it's just adding in a little more interest and also ability to do all the stuff that I've been talking about, to see, observe, think about, understand. That's all very Mercury. Neptune is the magic of being able to use this part of your mind the way I'm talking about it. So the first week of June is a beautiful time. And I'll talk about the moons separately, but these influences are really, you could use the word magical, but there's more science going on. There's more psychology and internal psyche going on, but it can seem very magical when you can work with your internal clockwork and workings of your internal clock. When you can really get in there and participate in what's going on inside of you, it is magical. It does wonders for your overall ability to feel like you've grown, like you can handle stuff, and just feel better most of the time. All right, take care.